Hello and welcome. Today I will show you how to create this double casket. It's going to be a one-sided casket spray. In our previous videos we showed you how to do a single casket. So in this case I'm going to be showing you how to do the double casket, and it's going to be one-sided, so cascading. You're going to need 2 blocks of oasis for this one. Make sure when you're making your foam wet, you don't push it down into the water. You want to avoid any air bubbles, and that is really important to remember. You're also going to need 2 plastic bags because this is what's going to help maintain the moisture, and you want to make sure you have all of that moisture. Once you have your oasis fully submerged, take your bag and just put it into put your foam into the bag. And then put it into your base like so. So it would be wise to put your greenery first. It's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to begin by putting in my greenery. I'm going to start off by using some palm leaves, cutting off the tips to make it a bit more symmetrical. So we're just going to go for a one solid flower kind of scheme here. In our previous videos, I mentioned a lot, we use different mixed flowers and we put the bigger ones in the middle, but in this case we're going to be using only one flower, and we're going to be creating an explosion effect with this flower and with the help of our greenery. So what we're going to need to focus on is making it as dense in the middle as possible and as sparse towards the outside as possible, and I will show you how to do that. Also, we're going to be focusing on a cascading effect. As you can see here, is shorter and then longer. So I'm also going to be using I'm going to be having a gold and red type theme, and I'm going to be using some sprayed gold aspidistra, and I'm only going to be using it towards the front, so spray your aspidistra beforehand, and then put it into your arrangement. So now we're just going to add in our salal, very sparsely, just filling up our oasis here. Using the greenery, it allows you to create a shape, and it allows you to give yourself a base, something to work with ahead of time, so that when you're putting in your flowers, in my case my carnations, all I have to do to fix the shape is just move 1 or 2 carnations around, versus putting in the greenery last minute. It is much more convenient to have the shape already made for you. So once you have finished with adding your greenery, you can begin adding your carnations or your flowers of your choice. Just make sure you cut it on an angle so it's easier to put into the oasis, and insert it. Remember, we want to make it as dense in the middle as possible, and then as more sparse as it goes around the outside. We're trying to create an explosion effect and maintain that cascading effect as well. If it ever becomes too difficult for you to insert your flowers in, just take your knife and poke a hole. It makes it much easier, especially with flowers that have very soft stems, like these carnations, for example. So just keep working on creating that cascading effect. You can put less flowers in the back and make it shorter in the back. As you can see here, I have shorter flowers. And in the front, longer. Make sure that you maintain that explosion effect. So just make sure you keep on working on these things. And fill in any gaps with any greenery that you may have. I am using my floral here. If you have a carnation that is closed, you can just pinch and then twist and then kind of spread it open with your fingers here. So once you are done filling up any major gaps with your salal or any of your greenery, you can begin adding some more fancy greenery. Like here I have some asparagus. I also have some ivy. So just fill in anything extra with your fancy greenery here. And notice how my back here is very short and the front is much longer. I have maintained that cascading effect. And I have maintained that explosion effect. So you want to make sure you keep an eye out for that and work on that as you build your arrangement. I also have some ivy here in a pot. And I used this ivy. I cut it at the very, very bottom. The very bottom of the plant here. And I've taken out a whole vine. And I'm going to use it. I'm going to put it into my arrangement here. Our final results. Make sure you spray with some water, leave it in your fridge if you have a big fridge or just in your basement. And thank you so much for watching. Leave your comments, questions, or concerns below, and don't forget to subscribe.